Good morning, team. Well, actually, good afternoon. How are we all doing today? I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I'm still very lurgied up, so do not expect much difference from myself. But we're here nevertheless, so I hope you're good. I'll get on the charts in a second. Bear with me. How's everyone? Is everyone well? Right. So, let me get my pen. No face cam. I'm still an absolute blubbering mess. I'm blowing my nose constantly, so I do apologise if I sniffle and snuffle through the live stream, because that is probably what's going to happen. But it's Friday at the end of the day, isn't it? It's Friday. It's the end of the week. We are ready to capture any last moves that may happen this week. Now, we had this nice setup last night, which I honestly, because it came down into here at like 9 p.m., I left my spread open at market close, and then let it run. I didn't BE it or anything like that because it was running like through the night. I'm not staying up till like 3, 4 a.m. to BE a one trade. Let it run, hit TP, beautiful. It was only a 1 to 2.9, so really the minimum reward that we would ever expect. But if you know the Orion trading system, which if you're a long-term viewer of this, and I know there's about 4 or 5 people that join these streams every time we go live, whether you guys decide to talk or not, obviously that's completely up to you, but I'd imagine that you are using Orion as your trading system, right? And if you're not, you should be. So you will know why this entry was taken and you'll understand the principles of it. You might even have taken it yourself, depending on the time zone and where you live. If you lived in America, definitely could have taken this. So I just want to cover a few pairs and take a look at the setups that possibly could be coming. We'll talk to you guys about the potential that we have for some of the setups. Now gold came and took this high volume high right here. You can see that we've marked it up. High volume high, you can see because of the candle coloration. It took it and we didn't get a money out. Now if we did have a money out, we would have sold from here. Which means we may still be in this potentially if it was giving an entry. No entry was given. Price is just consolidating. That's fine. Remember, it doesn't really matter what price does. It's just what are we doing. It's always going to be the same thing. Are we executing around a rule set that's telling us, yes, we need to do something? Or are we executing based off of we feel like we should be doing something? If the answer is the latter, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, so gold, we're looking for price on gold to readjust down into a couple of the lows that are down here, right? Potentially give us some moves higher. Now, if it doesn't, that's fine. But we're still holding the same bias that we held yesterday and the day before, even though we've had a push up. Now, note something here. High volume low was hit. Money in was delivered. Price never tapped into it until here. Then we shifted bullish. Now we've hit a high volume high and prices started to play around. So potentially we could see price selling back down, but I believe we're going to see price push up into the highs, taking out the daily high and creating another all-time high, I believe, right? Oh no, all-time high for this month. So remember we posted, well, we didn't post, but we gave you guys a challenge. And that challenge was collect data on the Orion trading system and then showcase it in the Discord. So if you decided to take that challenge on, how is it going? So we ran the high here on kind of Nasdaq, is it? Came straight down to the 4-hour low. Is that our daily low? Right. So as we come into the New York session today, we have a couple of potential movements that we might see. One of them is price within here pull back up, right? That's one of the potential moves that I'm looking at price potentially doing. The reason for that is because we took out the daily low and then we've pushed back up with a money end. We've now swept the high of Asia. We've now come down and swept the low of Asia. This means we either expand back up to regenerate liquidity at the highs to continue the sell side, or we just continue selling down into the lows, right? What's going on, Jay? Hope you're good, mate. I actually think Nasdaq has potential to drop quite a bit more, but I do think we could see what I just showed you there. Yes and no. I appreciate you asking, my mate. Appreciate that. I am feeling a bit better. I still have a relatively sore throat. The only thing today, which is more of an inconvenience than anything, you can probably hear it in my voice, is my nose is just blocked to the maximum. And it's just dripping like a tap. So if I did have my face cam on right now, what you would see is one of my nostrils plugged with tissue. So because I cannot keep up with it. I just have to keep blowing my nose. So I said to myself, I'm not going to keep blowing my nose. I'm just going to block the leak. So yeah, apart from that, dude, I'm good. So I appreciate you asking, my man. So we're also going to be showcasing a few of the new indicators that we've created in the VIP session this afternoon. Cheers, dude. Yeah, I'm sure I will. I got some nice steak I picked up from the butcher's on the way to the office this morning, so nice bit of steak for dinner. Should sort me out. Just hope I can taste it. So what's everyone got planned for the weekend? Let me go down to here. Ginger honey squeezed lemon always does it for me. I have to try that. To get some honey, not honey, some ginger on the way home. Appreciate it. So the live attendancy lately has been very, very low. Very low. Just before the new year, we were ramping up towards sort of 10 viewers per stream. Sorry, not 10 viewers per stream, but like 10 concurrent viewers. So I'm not too sure why that is, but it is what it is, I guess. I bet when we start showing Orion trading for us, everyone starts getting excited. When no work has to be put in anymore. Classic. Oh, I nearly just knocked a whole cup of coffee over my desk. That would have been bad times. Oh no, I'm gonna sneeze. God damn. Alright, apologies. Yeah, if I just go silent, guys. Probably muted myself to go sneeze or exhaust myself of any mucus that's lingering around. The worst thing about it is my son has also got a bit of lurgy, which is the worst thing because it then means that he's not sleeping properly and he's just like constantly, hard work. Yeah, so can be hard work. That's why 99% of traders fail. Consistency isn't part of their DNA. Yeah, dude, tell me about it. Literally is, though. That's the thing. And I can understand, I don't do the most, the most entertaining streams. But I do openly disclose to you guys that even if I take a loss, I'm going to tell you. Even if I, if there's a setup that doesn't work, we'll look at it and work out why. Well, not work out why, but we'll look at it and see why. If there's no trades, there's no trades. But I think a lot of people would rather just go and sit on a streamer's, a streamer's live stream that's either creating drama, so it's like more interesting, or just trading every day, because that's what they want. They want that buzz sort of thing. But I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people don't have a trading system, but then think they know better than somebody that has data to back up a trading system. For example, when I gave out the dopamine kick, exactly. That's why doom scrolling is such an addictive nature thing, and that's why I was so against my son getting a phone, my 12-year-old, because he just sits on his phone scrolling through shit. Like, he's not even doing anything. He's just wasting his life. But yeah, like when I put out the data challenge, and said, if you have a system, show the backtesting results for it, in the Discord. Showcase the results, showcase the numbers, the figures. Yeah, they should be outplayed. Or learn Orion and backtest that, right? I don't really expect anyone to show any data, ever. I don't think people are willing to do it. I don't think they are, which is unfortunate. Okay, so there is now an entry that's been given. Now, the reason why I'm not going to take that trade is because of the time from the liquidity being taken out and price actually displaying it. Okay, it's been a fair amount of time between those 2 points. To be exact, it's been 3.5 hours. So 3.5 hours for me is too long for a liquid transfer. I want to see it relatively quickly. Doesn't mean that trade won't work, but it would be 2R as the limitation as always, and I can almost guarantee that's past 2R already. Yeah. So, a couple of reasons why unfortunately we won't be getting involved with that. But so be it. I do want to make an adjustment to my high volume. Oh. Yeah, I want to change this to like 30. I don't know if that's going to make any difference. No. Okay. So remember collecting a 9 a 9? Remember collecting a mind-numbing amount of data on a pair is what's going to give you confidence to trade it with a system. Yes, it's boring. No one wants to sit and do 6-7 hours of backtesting. But no one wants to try to be a trader and then end up quitting and going back to their job, do they? So, what would you rather do? GU, looking for bullish. Unfortunately, it only skimmed the lows before going higher, which is annoying. But we had a nice move, and then EU gave the move that we wanted to see, which was a run of a low, an area given, then an expansion up. So nothing on there right now, but potential. This is something as well that I was looking to incorporate later down the line, which is using your lower time frame bias. Not interpret, but define lower points of liquidity within here. Okay, using your high volume principle, the candle of high volumes. You can see them all in here. And then you can use the lower time frame, for example, the 1 minute, to ultimately, I don't know if there's a setup here, but define a, yeah, like that, right? So define a money in that creates, not that creates, but it's created after that high volume area is removed from the market. Yeah. So when we go back to the 5 minute chart again, you can see you can capture just a real little chunk of that bias and then just move on. Yeah. Then allow the bigger moves to come in and allow the higher time frame Orion system to play out. But you're using the same principles as the higher time frame Orion system, but you're trading within the smaller order flow of it. But like I said before, until you have data to back something up, you should do nothing more than collect data and observe. Because what happens is you end up becoming the liquidity that we are talking about. So down here, for example, that was the, yeah, that's the liquid that was taken out on the high volume candle here. What's the wrong, not wrong, but what's the point with this that wouldn't align with what we have? Well, the bias is bullish, right? So we'd use that as a target point rather than a point to look to enter from. We're looking for this high to be around here because the 15 minute excuse me, is already expanding higher, and we're looking for that bullish bias to come into play, right? So I have a new little stress ball toy thing that I have on my desk, which is very nice to play with. Generally more of, I wouldn't even call it a stress ball. More of like a, when there's nothing going on and I don't have anything to do. You can just sit and give it a good squidge. Something like that I think is quite important. If you're that way inclined, some people can't stand that kind of thing. Right, I've decided what mouse I'm getting now as well, by the way. Now, it might not necessarily be the right mouse to get, but it's what I'm going for, I think. New mouse, yeah. My MX Master stopped working. And I love that mouse. That was a great mouse. Is it a gaming one? No. No, it's one of those vertical mice. You know, like the you know, like the ones that stand up tall. They look weird as fuck. And I'm not going to get another Logitech because the reason I'm getting a new one is because my Logitech decided to stop working. So I'm going to avoid Logitech this time. It is... it looks so weird. Verge of getting a new PC. You haven't seen that one before? The current one breathes like an old truck. I got a PC Specialist laptop, 17.5-inch frame build laptop, which I've had for I think about 3 years now. But it's good. Does everything I need it to do. Paid about £1,300 for it. But it's that convenience because I don't want to be bound to having the computing power of a Chromebook to be able to move it around. And I didn't want to have like a full-on PC setup because then it's stuck. Whereas this laptop I've got is a full-on gaming PC but in a laptop form. And it's thin as well. It's really thin. So I've had to open it up 2 times, I think. And the amount of shit that comes out of it is crazy. Because the fans are so small and compact that they just absorb everything into them. So that would have been a banger if it was given earlier. If it was given like over here, that would have been a banger. That would have been a Friday slammer right there. I'll show you one of those mice. This one's pretty cheap as well, to be fair. What we got? Just reading some reviews on it quick. So comfortable in the hands. Need something similar. Whereabouts in the world are you, mate? This is PC Specialist. Kenya. I believe there is a company that is more native to sort of the African area, because one of my students in South Africa got one of the PCs built. But you can create your own. So you choose the size, you choose whatever you want. I got this 17.3. Yeah, one of these ones. And then you can literally pick every single piece. I've got a... So you can't actually change that. You can change the RAM. And the price goes up depending on what you pick. So it's obviously, that's a bit of a stupid comment, wouldn't it? But yeah, you can change pretty much every element, which is cool. The mine's a bit different from this one. Excuse me. Mine's got a 3060, which they don't offer apparently. I tell you what, actually, I bet it's because of the motherboard. I bet it's because of the motherboard. Yeah, I don't know why that's not allowing us to change that. Strange. You see the price changes accordingly, but depending on what you're trying to do, like if you're trying to do some hardcore gaming, then you probably need something a bit bigger, really. Well, not bigger, but not not that. Let's start again here. This one. If they can ship it to Dubai. Yeah, I don't know why it's not doing that. I'm not sure, but you can configure it. You can configure it. So we'll just go here. Proceed. So VAT and delivery. 4 to 6 working days. Finance. Ready to order. I don't want to put my email in, really. But you can take my word for it. They build good PCs. They also do loads of pre-builts, nice pre-builts and stuff. News just dropped. Woo! Yeah. News is chopping that. Non-farm payroll. I didn't even realise it was an FP day, to be honest. This is what I was saying about NAS, wasn't I, earlier? I said I believe that it can come from here up into the highs, then come back down into the lows. And I stand by that. I still believe the shift that I spoke about earlier could happen, and then the downside move will come. So the NAS 100 chart is actually reflecting quite nicely what we predicted. So you're the only one in here today, Jay, my mate. That was a really loud bleep. Looks like it, dude, yeah. Looks like it. Nah, not really much going on today anyway, so. Oh my lordy lord. There we go. Oh my gosh. Right. What's the time? Looks like GU going bullish, as you said. Yeah, I think it will, mate. Yeah. Yeah, I think it will. Same with Euro and same with gold. I'm saying obviously gold, we were looking to sell it, but we're not looking to sell it from here. I also don't believe that it's just going to shift bearish back into these lows. We took out the high volume low, like I say, and we tapped in. But GU definitely running bullish for the highs, I believe, or at least the high. So we'll see. NFP didn't really do anything, did it? To be honest, it just sort of brought some volume in and flicked price around a little bit. But yeah, to be honest, there wasn't any setups that I was really that interested at, so I didn't really expect much to happen. Like, I always expect when there's a setup that I want to be in, news comes in and fucks shit up. Right. So I think, guys, we are going to head over to the Discord. I think it's that time. I know we're only 50 minutes in. And I appreciate you all for joining me and so on, but it's a very quiet day today. I don't just want to sit on YouTube Live, for the sake of being on YouTube Live. So we're going to come back on Monday. And on Monday, we will do a new live stream with obviously some updates as well for what we're looking at for the rest of the week. But until that time, I recommend every single one of you to go and do some backtesting, gather some data, collect information on the system you use, whether you use Orion, whether you use a different system. Make sure that you do the right thing and you collect data to give you yourself confidence. So enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys, and I really do appreciate every single one of you for joining me. Jay, you are the man. I appreciate you, and I will see every single one of you very, very soon. Enjoy. Take it easy, guys. Peace and love.